Alright, so let's go through the battles here really quick. As you can see, Beauregard, we won. That was no question. We had 29,000 troops. He had 3,900. I'm not even going to bother analyzing that one. That was pretty obvious. Joseph E. Johnston. So this was a little surprise. They apparently went to move on Winchester with Banks. He moved pretty fast from where he was at to where he was going. So it's not surprising he had a lot of cowardice because he was probably exhausted by the time he got there. It was two rounds of battle. We had Longstreet's Brigade, Stonewall's Brigade, Smith, 3rd Reserve, Armistead, and so forth. As you can see here, let's do first round. Artillery performed well. Placed artillery. And then we had Longstreet demonstrating tactical skill. I'm not sure what that means, but it's probably some sort of bonus. And then artillery emplaced and so forth. He had the river crossing to deal with, along with fatigued men. So it sounds like he just moved for Winchester, not expecting me to fall back. So apparently me falling back was pretty helpful. We did 76 hits. He only had 9. So we had a plus 369, which is pretty impressive. He only had plus 60. And then round 2, we upped the ante even further, hitting him with even further casualties. Him 13. So that is awesome. Then McDowell attacked Johnston, and Johnston once again dominated. So as you can see here, it was 2 rounds, so it looks like 1 round. Plus 315 to 34. Longstreet performed admirably. Again, hopefully I can promote him soon. I'd like to make him a corps commander, so preferably a 3-star by the time I can do that, although that's going to be pretty soon, so it's probably not going to happen. Okay, now let's go over Cairo. As you can see, Polk, we sustained the same amount of casualties as he did, but we've got a considerably larger number of troops, so we better win this. We did have some cowardice on the battlefield, which is unfortunate. But we went all-out attack. He defended very well, probably because he has a significant entrenchment bonus. Yeah, 250. So anyways, we kicked his butt thoroughly though, but we did not take Cairo, so now what I'm doing is a full-on onslaught onto there. Let's do the messages really quick before I show you the moves. Union is issuing war bonds. A European brigade has been formed. Okay, where's that at? Oh, New Orleans? Okay. So that's the one I combine with that. Never quite sure what the star means. Oh, experience, okay. Well, that's cool. I'm building more 6-pounders because I'm going to send them up to Bowling Green. So I want to put a fort right here and then perhaps one at Madisonville as well. I am moving Johnston up to here to move on Munfordville, just because I don't want to give it up without a fight. I don't know if I can really hold it for very long, but we'll see. But like I said, I'm going to get to the messages here before we go through the moves. Alright, martial law in Knoxville. We used 2 replacements from our replacement pool. Got 4 money, 8 war supply from the blockade running. We did capture some artillery over here. We captured the fort batteries and the coastal artillery, which would be nice to use against the Union if they decide to push down the Mississippi. Though notice here, fighting capacity crumbled, and the Nashville force had no choice but to stop fighting. I'm not sure why that ended up happening, but it did. Okay, so Cairo is a pretty significant victory, actually. We got 400 rifle and 1,100 prisoners from that. So that's cool. Although we didn't get any national morale, which is annoying. We failed to engage the cavalry over here at Springfield. seeing if there's anything substantial here. Where's that at? Okay, that's right. We took Metropolis down here. So now I'm trying to combine him back up with Polk to take Cairo. Alright, so we already saw that battle over there in the Shenandoah Valley at Winchester. Which it pains me to pull out of Harper's Ferry. I don't like doing that. But seeing as how Lyon moved on Winchester is probably a good idea we pull back. Alright, so thanks to our victory at Winchester, we got another 400 rifle and 1,900 prisoners. We got 2 national morale from that. Good. Sweet. About time we got some national morale from our victory. And then the battle at Manassas, which was very lopsided. We got 1 national morale from that. The CSS Virginia, which is our ironclad down here in Norfolk, is almost complete. If the situation presents itself, I'd like to move on Fort Monroe. It's just a matter of whether I can spare the forces from up here. I'd like to take that out because what'll happen is if you can get rid of Fort Monroe, then Richmond is no longer blockaded, and the amount of money and war supply I get from Richmond will go up from that. Polk is now eligible for a new rank. B, new seniority. Johnston, new seniority. Jackson, new seniority. And then Longstreet, new seniority. Good. We got, we managed to smuggle cotton, so we got 50 cash from that. We now form divisions, which I did do. Okay, so that's about the extent of the messages. Let's go over this real quick. Okay, we're gonna go from east to west since we're already over here. I did form divisions. Now the downside to forming divisions is, notice here, Bonham was a 311. Now he's a 100. That's the downside to creating a. B. Where's that Bonham? Yeah, it's Bonham. Creating a division, but the command points drastically improve the situation. So we were at 35% red. Now we're at white. And so you can see here, Bonham's got 3 artillery batteries, several cavalry, some sharpshooters, and infantry. And then all of these all these divisions are pretty much the same here. I'm tempted to move Magruder up to Leesburg because, again, him taking Leesburg can move down to take the rail line here at Clark's, Virginia. I don't think I'm going to do that just because it's 461 power. I do have more than him, though. It's tempting to move on him. I may see if he moves on Leesburg and then push on to Alexandria. I don't know. I'm satisfied with my strength at Winchester to be able to hold it, and actually I'm looking to push back and maybe take Harper's Ferry back. Probably the better approach here is to take Magruder, put him in with Johnston. And I don't have enough rail because I'm out of rail. Jeez, that sucks. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to have like no rail for supply this turn, but that's okay. I think I'm going to put Magruder here with Johnston and then push back and try and reclaim my foothold here in Harper's Ferry. That's more important to me than Leesburg. Although Leesburg is important to me for purposes of maintaining some sort of secure area on my flank. What I'd like to do is reinforce Culpeper and then move this up to Clark, Virginia. Not so much to really hold it, but just to at least delay some sort of action to split my my line in two. That'd be nice. Once I get moved to the sound of the guns, what would be really awesome is to have, like, you know, 3 corps here, and then they could support each other, but we'll see. So that's the east right now. Is I've got 649 power because I also combined these into divisions. So Jackson suffered a little bit of negative impact from that, but as a result, the Shenandoah force is now under control in terms of command points. Smith doesn't have; he's just supporting Johnston, but we've got divisions in Longstreet and Jackson. And what I'd like to do is push back and take Harper's Ferry next term. So I'm bringing this 94 power up to combine that in with the Shenandoah force. I'm moving Magruder over to support the Shenandoah force, and I'd like to reclaim Harper's Ferry if possible. In the meantime, though, I am destroying the railroad here. Not so much to... Although, you know... I'm going to hold off on that. If I'm going to attack... He doesn't look like to be having a lot of reinforcements coming from the west just yet. So we're going to hold off on that. I'm going to move him up here, though, and destroy this rail line. Just kind of harass him back here. This fine gentleman, I'm going to move back in with him. I don't want to destroy the rail line, though. I may make a move on Morgantown if I can. I don't like giving up the initiative wherever possible, so if I can get it back, which I don't quite have it over the Eastern right now, I will do that. In the Central Theater, so I consider the Central Theater Polk and the Army of the Tennessee, which is here, Johnston. So what happened was the Union decided to intervene in Kentucky, and so most of Kentucky joined us. But the problem is, even though most of Kentucky joined us, they didn't give us a lot of troops. So I'm moving Johnston up here, then jump over here, hopefully lock down Munfordville, and we'll see what we can do from there. He doesn't have any artillery, though, so I am building a 20-pounder, which is very good for offense. Moving this unit up, or the stack up here, to rally up with Johnston, and then a few other generals. I am moving Bragg over to Richmond to train up volunteers and conscripts in the Virginia Theater. I am going all out on Cairo with Polk. I am trying to get the Zollicofer with him. I don't know if I'll have much of an army left, or much of a stack left by the time I get there, but we'll try and support in any way we can. The reason I'm trying to I need to take this quick, I feel like, if I'm to have really any ability to maintain the initiative over here, because he's going to begin responding very quickly here. I do have my cavalry trying to get military control of this to hopefully set myself up for some sort of either advance or put him in a situation where it's going to take him harder to advance on me. I took Rollo, but again, I'm going to vacate it. I just took it for supply. I'm going to move this stack down to Springfield to reinforce Price's command. I do have Shelby and his force sweeping out this cavalry, and then at that point I'll probably move these guys to the Central Theater, because I feel like they'll be more beneficial over there. That being said, he does have a 124-man force down here. I think he's going to get Muskogee, which is very unfortunate. Not much I can do about that, I guess. I'm going to sweep out this artillery here. If he does move to Muskogee, I'll probably move him down to Fort Coffee. I don't have a whole lot of supply there, so I'm not too worried about that. The further down he gets, honestly, the more I can cut him off from the remainder of his force. So if he wants to push down this way, it kind of sucks to lose this supply, but really, this has become a secondary theater, and so I don't really need the supply over here necessarily. And Fort Smith's the one I'm worried about. So as long as I can hold Fort Smith down, I'm good. He'd have to besiege that to really take it, so I'm not too worried about that. This is becoming an annoyance. I'm not quite sure how aggressive I should be to sweep him out. I've got this here, this stack under Sibley. I do have artillery coming down. It's only 6-pounders though. Although this is field artillery. Oh, this is 12-pounder. Sorry, cool. I do have more sharpshooters being built, and then another 12-pounder. Partly because I figure as soon as I take care of the situation, I can take them by rail and send them up to the Central Theater, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm thinking I probably should deal with this just because these are 2 strategic regions. It makes sense to get rid of that as soon as possible. I do have cavalry moving up to Prima Villages. I don't know if he has anybody there. We will find out. But it's going to take 17 days, so I can change pretty quickly. Then finally, this little annoyance. So now he's landing down here as well. He's got a brigade and some militia. He's attacking Fort Clinch. So I'm going to have to start working on my rapid response force here much more quickly than I had anticipated. Right now, all I have is sharpshooters and cavalry, which doesn't do me much good. So I do need to get an artillery battery and at least 1 infantry brigade in this, and then a general. So I'm going to figure out who's going to lead that, and then start dealing with these little nuisances. Notice our cash situation is pretty precarious. We only have 18 cash, and we've used up all of our rail line. I do have it to the point where it's white as long as I'm not using it. Same with our river pool, but the cash situation is concerning. So I am, even though I'm increasing the rail pool more, I'm raising taxes, which obviously doesn't make people very happy. Costs us 2 morale and a 6% price variation, but we desperately need the money. So that'll come into our pockets next turn. And with that, I think that pretty much covers everything. So let's process the move and see what... Oh, and then just real quick here. The reinforcement pool and more production and building a boatload of artillery, as you can see. A lot of this, though, is going to go to that fort up at up in Kentucky. And then we have several Virginia units being built because I want to reinforce my Virginia defensive line. And I'm hoping in 62, at some point, once Lee is available to take the field, perhaps take on some sort of offensive somewhere. If I can get Harper's Ferry back and hold it for a few more turns, I feel like we might be able to take the initiative in Virginia, but we'll see. So, all right, let's take the let's proceed with the turn. Alright, so here's the movement. Looks like Burnside's on the map. There's Munfordville. We won that, so that's good. Alright, so hopefully we took it because I annihilated the rest of his force there. Fire! Price, victory. See movement of a St. Louis, that's not good. He's moving hard on Munfordville. Fort Jackson now too, jeez. Man, he is just hitting me everywhere. My defenses at New Orleans are not where I want them to be, and my rapid response force is not what I want it to be. So that's concerning. I'm telling you, it is hard to play as Confederates. It's fun, it's challenging, but man, it's oh, Grant's in Kentucky. That's not good. Johnson, I'm sorry, you know, say what you will about Johnson, he's no Grant. Finally took Clarkstown in West Virginia. Okay, so I'm gonna probably conclude this video and pop it up next time, but let's just look at things really quick here. He's got Halleck with 193. Polk did take Cairo. Good. So this is now mine. I can use this river here, the Big Muddy River, as a defensive front, along with Chester. I might even be able to put the defense up here, so that's good. That might force him to peel some troops away from Kentucky, who knows. Grant did take Munfordville, though, with a 145-man force. It looks like, for whatever reason, Johnston did not make his activation roll, which is very annoying. So he didn't move. That's great. Although now he does have his force combined here, and we are under the command points, which is good. Okay, so I'm going to have to decide what I'm going to do here. I have to decide if I'm going to make a move on Louisville or if I'm going to make a move on St. Louis. I can't do both. I need to do one or the other. And I'm tempted to say St. Louis. I'm tempted to make Bowling Green to Madisonville, my defensive line here, and then make a move on St. Louis. Because if I take St. Louis, that'll take pressure off Missouri. And then I can roll with this railroad line here and really hit his rear into Kentucky and Indiana. That's a tempting prospect. We'll see. I mean, it sounds good in theory, but who knows if it'll actually work in practice. He did take Clarksburg, but that was expected. I'm not concerned about that at all. We do have an 1,100 force now, so I could move on McDowell, who is in Winchester. So I could engage him here in Winchester, which I'm very tempted to do. Get that command point penalty under control, and then sweep him out of the way. I'm tempted with this force to make a move on Alexandria. Wonder how long it would take to grab a force here randomly. 9 days. I was tempted to take most of my Shenandoah force, put it into Manassas, and make a move on Alexandria. So we're better off now. I'm feeling much better here in the Eastern Theater. I feel like now I have options. I don't feel like I have to pull back if I don't want to. Whereas a few turns ago, I really felt like I was in a situation where I needed to pull back. It looks like our West Virginia force finally, after God, how many months, is out of harm's way, and I can reorganize that and filter out some of the forces over to East Virginia. I do need to deal with these amphibious assaults. They do take some time, so there is that, but I need to start. I don't know what happened over here. I don't know if he just fled or what, but so he's dealing with the loyalty over here. But now that I've got this, I don't know. I'm not gonna necessarily make a move on him yet. I want to make sure I can just totally schwack him when I do. But I do have some units being built here. Both of those, and then I can bring that to join that with him, and that should be enough to flush him out of there. But anyways, let me look over the turn, look over the map, figure out the moves, you know, the same old, and then when I come back in the next video, I think we'll probably go east from west. We'll talk about the purchases. We were up to 830 cash. We can do some substantial purchases this turn. And I'll kind of see what I can do here. I don't think Lee is yet taking the field. Nope. I gotta wait probably until 62. But once he takes the field, and we can create core level commands, things are going to be very interesting. I could probably make the Shenandoah force even stronger than it currently is because of the command point penalty. And so I'm going to look to do that. But with that, thanks for watching, everybody. If you found this video entertaining, as always, please like the video. It does certainly help with the viewership. You know, Mega Bro and I do this really to highlight these kind of games. We don't do it for our own personal, you know, attention. We do it because we think the game's fun and we want to highlight it for other people and make it, you know, kind of an enjoyable experience for everybody. So if you like the video, like it so that other people can find it. And with that, I will catch you on the flip side.